Hi, this is Bharti, and we are here at KubeCon in San Diego. And today we have with us once again David Safaii, you are CEO of Trilio. First of all, welcome to the show once again.
Oh, good to see you again. Thanks for having me.
The last time we met was OpenStack Summit and Open Infrastructure Summit, but this is the first time we are meeting at KubeCon.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what are you doing at KubeCon?
Yeah.
What has Kubernetes to do with data protection?
Today is our unveiling of our native data protection solution for Kubernetes. And we're showing within even an OpenShift environment. And historically, when you and I have had this discussion before, we talk about native data protection relative to open infrastructure, right? Whether it was OpenStack or other KVM environments. And what we've done is we've taken the mantra that we've driven this business by, that of being software only, agentless, forever scalable, self-service, native to the environment, multi-tenant, and an open backup schema. And we've applied that now to also the Kubernetes space. So relative to Kubernetes, we are actually just part of the definition of an application. The ability to capture points in time, the ability to roll back an application with its data, just part of what you do and part of the definition of an application. So again, taking that mantra and we've applied it now to this space.
How different or how unique are the challenges for data protection in cloud native world, especially when you're running all these microservices vis-a-vis?
That's a good question, because these environments they're scale out in nature, right? They're highly elastic. They expand and they contract. Again, taking what we've learned historically and understanding that, again, being an agentless solution, we can expand and contract with the application. So relative to the Kubernetes space, again, being part of the definition of that application, it doesn't matter how big or how small that application is, or actually even where that application resides. So you're defining this application, and it includes all these piece parts, includes Trilio now too. So it's irrelevant to us. We're just part of the application.
Right. You also announced a new release. What are the core features or highlights of that release?
So good question. So the release provides the ability to capture both the metadata of an application and the data. And in this release, it gives you the ability to send that point in time to any target you choose. So perhaps you're using a S3 bucket in Amazon, or using NFS on premise from a host full of other vendors that you're accustomed to. So you'll have that capability, that flexibility. And then the ability to recover, not just recover in place, but you can take that point in time and move it somewhere else if you so choose to. And then beyond that, there are other capabilities of application awareness inside that application, right? So you're defining an application based upon a certain number of containers, perhaps. And Trulia, again, is part of that, the definition of that application. But you may have some databases inside that application. And Trulia will have the awareness of those databases inside that application as well.
Perfect. I'm curious, when you look at all these new workloads, most of them are also, their demand is high availability. Mm-hmm. What does data protection play a role there? Do you like different like high availability players offer that? And because the core of high availability is quick access to data if something goes wrong.
Right. I think if you take a step back and you look at who does this really service, from the Kubernetes landscape, at the end of the day, there are really two sets of people that we cater to. One, you'll have your traditional IT managers who care about providing compliance, data governance, scalability, the ability to recover when and where needed, right? They typically don't have the insights into the application. We satisfy backup and DR from that standpoint. I think if you look at the other end of the ledger, the other end of the spectrum, it's the DevOps folks, right? And DevOps typically they don't care about backup. It's not part of their lexicon. However, it's the ability to have version control and versioning, and the ability to roll back my application, both the application configurations and the data as a whole. So now I can rewind things as need be. Again, for the DevOps community and for the infrastructure folks. It's quite powerful.
when we talk about cloud, or I mean, today everybody talks about Kubernetes, no matter where you talk about.
Right.
There are two or three critical things. One is multi-cloud, and second is hybrid cloud.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to run some workload on prem. Sometimes you move out of and then you want to leverage different clouds.
Right.
So, where does what challenges or opportunities create for data production, and how people can still leverage that without having to worry about where their workload is running?
Yeah. It's a good question. There's a tremendous opportunity for us, right? Yesterday's solution, we talked about open infrastructure and the ability to manage these cloud native applications inside with virtual machines in that sort of a spectrum. Today's conversation, we're talking about Kubernetes, right? 80+% of container-based applications reside in both public and private clouds, right? So you're having this fragmented world that exists. And it's not just hybrid cloud, where I may want to leverage my on-premise system and send backups to the public cloud. It's multi-cloud now. And in this multi-cloud world, you will require a solution that is highly flexible and has high portability. So with what we're providing today, we can protect your container-based applications. That's chapter 2. Chapter 3 is we've taken all the goodness, that mantra that I mentioned before, of what we've done within the open infrastructure space, what we do now within the container space. We live with the application regardless of cloud. And then tomorrow, we're rolling everything up into one single solution that covers both your virtual machines and your containers from any cloud you want. So an organization that's going to have applications residing in 3, 4, 5 clouds, I mean, this is going to continue to grow. This becomes this big challenge for the CIO. The ability to repatriate applications, data, the ability to move applications to another cloud. We start to become this linchpin in a much bigger story. And we become this general purpose backup solution, resiliency solution, availability solution, DR solution. So this journey that we're going on, this is just the second chapter, which is really, really exciting. We're going to make a lot of noise, and people are lining up right now to dig in. So we're excited.
And what about edge? Because edge is also becoming a critical piece of cloud, all the sensor running. So, and there, I mean, most of that data, they just collect it and send it to the cloud, but a lot of processing is moving to the cloud, edge computing. What about data production there? Do you have that also on your radar or not yet?
No, it does. I think if you look at what the infrastructure that's being laid out for edge computing, a lot of this stuff is predominantly KVM-based infrastructure. And then once I have that infrastructure at the edge, right, now I'm going to push my workloads and the applications. And they may be container-based applications to the edge of that cloud. Again, for the Trilio story is, it shouldn't matter what you want to run at that edge. We give you that insurance and assurance that you'll be able to recover at the edge, right? Because you're going to keep pushing applications and the data as far as you can. We're seeing that transformation both from on the OpenStack side, and then we're seeing it all over the place with container-based applications. Absolutely, we're in a great spot.
When you look at data, most of the workloads are considered to be stateful, but we are also running a lot of stateless workloads out there.
Yeah.
So what is the significance of data production in the stateless world?
Yeah. So again, historically, we've seen this story before, where people build these environments and they think that these environments are built for just a stateless world. And before you know it, stateful always finds its way, right? Always. You start introducing databases and things of that nature. That is definitely the case here within the Kubernetes landscape. Within Kubernetes, there's a lot of stateful environments. A lot of production environments have stateful. Now, there's also stateless. The key here is that you want to be able to rewind an application, control version. And that means that there's a lot of configurations to manage. There's also a lot of data to manage. So the orchestration of both those things, whether you care about one versus the other or all in its entirety, you now have that command and control. Again, just part of your application.
David, thanks again, for sitting down with me, and I look forward to seeing you again at the next. Now we have more than one venue where we can see each other.
We're making this a habit. No,
Perfect.
This is fantastic. I really do appreciate the time.
Awesome. Thank you.